Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take 1.
Action!
Welcome back to yet another episode of the AKAPAD Film Buff podcast. You might be catching this new, and that's because we're increasing our uptick of, if you want to call it content, I like to call it episodes. But we're doing, and this has been on the docket for quite some time, and I feel like it's very important. There's a lot of film documentaries out there, and they're becoming very niched. For example, like upcoming, we have the first one's going to be Jurassic Punk. And Jurassic Punk is the documentary of Steve Williams, but also Mark Dippé. You have to put the two of them together. But Steve Williams is the guy that, he fought against the system and, within Industrial Light and Magic and created the path, like physically created the path of computer generated images in American movies, starting with Jurassic Park. That seismic shift, he's the nucleus of it all. So it's not a documentary about Jurassic Park. It's a documentary about one of the guys of Jurassic Park. Single movies now have, there's a Goonies documentary, there's multiple Back to the Futures. It goes on and on and on. People are fascinated with the saga of filmmaking, mostly other creatives and wannabe filmmakers. And I say wannabe with love. I'm not I'm not targeting anybody out there trying to tell their story. In a way, this podcast is the story of the film buff. So we're doing on upcoming every single weekend. Saturday night, Sunday night, we'll be doing documentaries with a focus on film documentaries, with a focus on creative documentaries. People in design, people in fashion, people in film. But we're going to start and focus on film, movies, blockbusters, because there's just so much there and there's so much good. Recently too, I just watched one called Kid Icarus. It's about this dude that works at Home Depot trying to make a movie. And I'm watching this documentary, and I'm spending the rest of my time trying to find the kid on the internet. I think that's important. I tried to find it turned out to be a short film called Enslavement. Couldn't find it. Heartbroken a little bit at that. So there's these documentaries that kind of paint a landscape when we clump them all together. So a part of the ambition of this podcast, and I'm saying ambition a little bit in the context, I'm just thinking of that monologue from 6 Degrees of Separation. The imaginative is an overused word. And I'm thinking like ambition is an overused word. Because I could probably give a lecture right now. I could maybe have to take some notes, my AKAPADers. I'm not perfect. Structure the lecture real quick. In the pitfalls of using the term ambition, what it really means, the people who use ambition as a weapon, all of it. But then, what does it mean? What really happens when you truly have ambition? This documentary series that we're about to embark on is a part of the ambition of this podcast, the vision, if you will, of this podcast. Not only to educate, but to be able to toe a line that puts you a little bit on the path so you can direct yourself, so that you can create ambition, target ambition, and know what to do with it. A lot of what I do is endless. It doesn't have an end. this podcast started as somewhat of a friend of mine wanted to do it, and he was a young kid, and I wanted to give him something to have. But I told him, I said, if we do the podcast, and at the time it was called the Dream Warriors podcast, you're going to have to be all gas, because this is going to take time and money. And I spent the time and money to figure it out. So he would just have to come. I mean, it took me a while looking back, but he would just have to come up and record. And I felt like his effort for that just wasn't there. I had a parallel friend that was very interested in comic books, leaned into pop culture. So I started to have him come on to fill out some of these slots, just so we can get momentum and record and do all that. And I had another friend, and my sister and her husband at the time, who were both involved with radio. So it became like a little bit just like Peter, AKAPAD community effort, but then eventually the show went solo. And it went solo because I would record at night. I would record during the day. I would record all hours. And I would get good with publishing, putting out content, and designing buffers, and listening to everything else out there. So the Film Buff podcast kind of emerged. During the middle, it was called Audio Audacity, which I still love that name. But when it became the Film Buff, that's really where, and this is years later, this is where I felt like the ambition of the podcast came to fruition. Years later, hundreds of episodes later, I think Film Buff emerged, might have been around episode 400. We're well within the thousands now, by the way, guys. And then it was, well, let's just talk about the movies we watch and the movies we love. Well, some of this is, we do need traction. We do need to grow an audience. We have to get good with talking about newer movies. So the newer movies became the earlier drops. But then there's threads to explore. Like if the Fantastic Four movie's coming out, if Superman is coming out, let's talk about all of those other movies. And then eventually cartoons came in. So let's reserve Saturday and Sundays for cartoons. So we have new movies during the day. We have threaded content or themed content at night, like library content, we'll call it. The weekends became animation weekends, and now weekend nights are becoming film documentary or industry documentary nights, educational nights. And I feel like it's important because some of these documentaries are incredible, and some of them will steer you wrong. Some of them do have a bias. Let's talk about it. And that's what the Film Buff podcast is all about. It's a little bit about a complete view that is endless. This is an endless show. My goal for this show is to bring you guys everything I see. I keep lists and lists and lists. I have so many lists of movies to record and to rewatch for you guys. I have to develop advanced management, like the advanced way to manage that project, because it is a project. Bringing you things I feel like will open your mind, talking about other creatives and how I connect to them, hopefully opening up a doorway for you. All this is paramount, my AKA powders. Now, when will this episode reach you? I'm not 100%. It might come right before Jurassic Punk, the day before, or an hour before. I don't know yet. But Jurassic Punk is a wonderful entry, especially within the week of the digital release of Jurassic World Rebirth, that I 100% cannot wait to watch. I'm foaming at the mouth to watch that movie. But this is an exploration of drilling deeper. This is about the AKAPAD website developing a education section, so everything is categorized for you guys, easily accessible, easily available within the website search. Monumental efforts here, a lot of time, a lot of management. So with all of that, my AKA Padders, it is my ambition to bring you guys documentaries I feel can change you. So let's go.
Okay, that's a wrap.